further expansion through violence, which had been in progress since Chandragupta's reign. Ashoka's interest in Buddhism marked its official acceptance in India. Ashoka became so passionate towards his new beliefs that he wanted to spread the knowledge to others. His beliefs were those of the Vibhajavada, which put an emphasis on analysis as a way to gain insight. To gain this insight, one must have experience and not just reach it by hearing someone else's opinion of one's own faith. The Battle of Kalinga was an experience that Ashoka was able to analyze and determine his actions were wrong. His insight was to change his mindset of ruling with aggression to a more nonviolent command of all people within the empire. Results of the new philosophy quickly became apparent in the Mauryan society. Ashoka made a strong emphasis to improve the Sangha, or otherwise known as community. He took an approach that designated many people to tackle various jobs in order to have a sense of purpose in the empire, and to unify the population as a whole. Public works were instilled, such as rest stops for traders or travelers, and drinking wells. Past events such as animal sacrifices were banned due to their violent intentions, while mercy, truthfulness, sexual pity, gentleness, and contentment were recommended among people in the empire. The overemphasis on generosity opened the door for corrupt members of society to exploit its intentions for individual benefit. Non-devoted monks disrupted the community by receiving food, clothing, shelter, and medication through unfaithful practices. As a result, the Sangha that Ashoka coveted so much lessened in credibility, and respected monks became angered. To raise the level of credibility in the teachings of Buddhism, Ashoka needed to eliminate the corruption tainting the beliefs he was trying to have prosper. Ashoka devised a plan to assemble a council whose purpose was to weed out false monks who were disrupting the Sangha. Magalaputa Tissa, the man who was appointed head monk of what was called the Third Council, chose 1,000 genuine monks from 60,000 possible to be labeled actual monks. The members were asked to recite the Dhamma Umaya to determine their legitimacy while Ashoka oversaw the proceedings. This 9-month process not only separated the loyal monks from the disloyal, but it brought forth able missionaries. Following the initial success at the local level, Ashoka made plans to spread the teaching of the Buddha to other countries in hopes they would gain insight to peaceful rule like he had experienced. The monks that had passed the test in the Third Council were sent to 9 different countries, all located in Southeast Asia. Though there were various responses to these teachings, the most successful mission trips were to the countries of Sri Lanka and Kashmir, where a long-term presence in the practices was stood. With the growing presence of Buddhism, the potential for disagreements or misconceptions were infinite. To address these problems before they could harm the Mauryan Empire and surrounding power, Mogaliputa Tissa wrote the book Katha Vatu. It served as a source of resolution to any controversy that may have risen over any topic of relation to Buddhism. Tissa wrote the book of answers with collaboration of experienced and knowledgeable elder monks. Though they were not the actual monks of the Buddha, they were regarded as a credible source resolving disputes. With this source not available, followers were able to ask questions and further their knowledge of understanding. To visibly show the impact of Buddhism on the Mauryan Empire, Ashoka oversaw the construction of various forms of art to depict the religion. Among some of the art forms were carvings of teachings on pillars and elaborate shrines, yet the most notable was the Great Stupa. Located in Sanchi, it was considered to be the most famous art form during the entire empire. It had a unique hemispheric brick outer layer shielding many Buddha relics inside. Its showy decoration demonstrated the importance Buddhism had developed in the society of the Mauryan Empire. It was now a society that had fully incorporated the religion, and art was a way to promote that assimilation. Ashoka the Great took the preliminary stages of his father's empire and turned it into a thriving economy with Buddhism as its centerpiece. The basis of all decisions was thought of in relation to Buddhist teachings for the benefit of the population as a whole. Ashoka had transformed himself from a violent ruler to a man of patience and reason to lead as the most influential ruler of the First Indian Empire. The Mauryan Empire saw another 6 emperors following the passing of Ashoka, none having the same positive impact. Ashoka's reign had lasted from 273 BCE to 232 BCE, nearly 40 years in length, yet the empire lasted only 50 years after his death. Raudrata Maurya, the last emperor of the Mauryan dynasty, was murdered by Pushyamita Sanga, the eventual ruler of the next empire, the Sanga dynasty. Nonetheless, Ashoka left his mark on the progression of India's economy and standard of living. Without the discovered knowledge that Buddhism brought to Ashoka and the empire, violence would have continued to permeate the land. In addition, the teachings became popular surrounding kingdoms and decreased the amount of aggression used to dominate their respective empires.